You're now listening to the Adiel Gorel Show. Each episode, I'll bring you the latest news from my discussions with top health and wellness experts so that you can bring yourself into better health. Today, on the Adiel Gorel Show.
And, your blood profiles are really important. Believe it or not, the ocean and your blood profile in terms of mineralization are almost identical. Okay, so, eating things from the ocean, from the proper source, organic and free of chemicals, because as you know, listen, Fukushima happened in 2011, okay? It's still leaking into the ocean. So you have to be really conscious to buy from the right sources because those currents go everywhere. So if you're gonna use dulse and you're gonna use like hijiki seaweed and all those things, make sure it's coming from a clean source.
So, basically, we are surrounded by solutions.
Yeah.
Assuming that it's done right, assuming that it's sourced clean.
Yes.
Even the busy people who don't have time to go to the farmer's market, to get the fresh veggies, to consume them before they go bad, to cut them, to make them into salads, they can still get it in form of maybe powdered superfoods, assuming, again, that the powder was correctly done to derive the nutrients.
Very important.
Not with harsh metals and stuff like this. But it's good to know that things like this exist. And yes, you do. You actually look more impressive in person. I just saw you recently. I'm saying it because here we can see your face. And yes, you look younger and more radiant than 55 or 54, whatever. But when you are met, then we can see your whole persona. And of course, you're very fit. You don't have an ounce of fat on you. So that just adds to the total, impression. I believe when somebody will see you, if you told them that you are 40 or even 38, they could say, well, I'm buying it. So that's a very encouraging thing. Many of us are visual. And as much as we'd like to think that we're intellectuals and we study and we follow the science, it's nice to get a hit of a person who does good things and it shows. In other words, if you are with a triple chin sitting here in a giant belly, the message would not come across as well. Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is very good. What other magic secrets do you have that you use that maybe we can also use?
I'm a big advocate for drinking really high quality water. Okay, water is just not water. Okay, water is it's the elixir of life. It's what travels through our veins. So hydrating properly and using the right superfoods with your water, really, really important. Okay, you want to stay away from anything chlorinated. I think people understand that. But chlorophyll is the elixir of life. Okay, it's the blood of plants. It's almost identical to our blood. The only difference is that the plant has a magnesium bond and ours has an iron bond. So it's really good for performance. It really enhances your red blood cell count, which actually helps me go faster on the bike, especially when I go to altitude. In Colombia, I go from Florida all the way up there, and I ingest a lot of chlorophyll. So if you want to have, nicer skin, if you want to have like more of a radiant look, okay, have more green drinks. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, don't do the Red Bull, don't do the Coca-Cola, don't do XYZ. Kombucha is okay periodically. I do have a kombucha, which is very alkaline forming. But it's super important that you pay attention to proper chlorophyll intake.
Let's go to the kombucha for a second. Kombucha can be very pleasant to drink. Some of them even feel very sweet. Some of them, many, are loaded with sugar, with added sugar. Added sugar. Some of them, in the fermentation process, there's sugars, but the sugar, some of them become alcoholic. Sometimes you go to a store, there's a section of kombucha that you can only buy if you're over 21. What do you think about that in general?
I remember when GT kombucha first came out. I mean, GT and company were going around to health food stores in New York delivering it. Now it's become a massive business, so I don't think the quality is the same. And, you know, I drink it periodically. You know, there's a turmeric ginger one that I really like.
Oh, that's the one I like too.
Yeah, it's really cool. And, you know, but there is the potential for too much sugar because of the fermentation process, but it's much better than what we grew up on. I mean, you grew up in Israel, Adi, but you came to the United States. You've traveled quite extensively. I think the best solvent for people is water, okay? Water and a green juice with high quality water, you know, on a daily basis. But, you know, there are I mean, coconut water, really, really healthy. Harmless Harvest, the best coconut water in my opinion. It's raw, it's pink. That's a great, you know, line that we look for. And, you know, just really working with your chemistry on a daily basis. I can't stress it enough that, you know, what you put on your plate and what you buy on a daily basis could add to a healthier you or a sickly person.
I'll go back to coconut water and say once again, even if nobody adds any sugar to it, which most people don't, because there's no need to.
Right.
It has natural sugar. It still has sugar, natural sugar.
Does.
Yeah.
It does. And, you know, my wife's a graduate of Hippocrates Health Institute, and when someone has cancer, someone is sick, and they go there, there's no sugar, there's no fruit. It's just green juice and sprouts and a healthy lifestyle. So, your body runs on glucose, but you got to give it the right glucose. The best form of glucose that the body likes is fruits and vegetables. Okay? Fruits and vegetables. You know, fruit juices, no. Coconut water is an exception. Apple juice, orange juice, papaya juice, pineapple juice, whatever juice is pure sugar. We're talking like 57 grams or higher of sugar. It's better to eat the whole fruit and not the juice.
What about vegetable juices in a juicer?
I'm not really for that because it's better to use a slow auger, a cold press, than grinding and like really destroying the life force of the vegetable. So if we're going to make celery juice, I have one of those slow augers and it really squeezes the vegetable, keeps all the enzymes intact. There's no like, you know, destruction there. But, you know, if you only have a juicer, it's better than nothing. But I recommend that you, you know, squeeze the juice out of the fruit or vegetable.
So in the quickness of pressing down on the veggie in the juicer, the speed at which the whole thing revolves, you're saying it destroys some elements.
Yeah, well, well, you have to think about, like, you know, the cell walls and the whole integrity of the vegetable, okay? It's disturbed, but it's also disturbed when you chew it too, which is going to open up the potential to get the nutrients and everything else. So that's a good disruption. But one of these, like a, you know, that's kind of like just throws everything everywhere. And a lot of the nutrition, believe it or not, is in the fiber and all the other stuff. And you're just getting the glucose and the sugar part. I've juiced plenty in my life, but the slow auger, the really slow press, I don't do it by hand. It's actually this slow auger machine that squeezes the juice out with cucumbers and celery and all that stuff. And it's a much better method.
You know, I had a juicer, which I used to juice, and I too wondered what gets thrown in the back, all the pulp. And I said, this is a lot of fiber, there's a lot of good stuff. So what I did back in the day, I got a dehydrator, took the pulp and made little patties out of it. Right. Crunchy patties.
Right.
So I thought now I can drink the juice and eat those, you know, but that still does not account for what you say about the violence of the process.
Yeah, there's a lot of destruction there. And I think it just violates the fruit or vegetable. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, they have personalities, or maybe they do. I mean, I can't remember the last conversation I had with my plant. Well, this is my money tree over here, so maybe, hey, how are you today? You know, maybe I should have more conversations.
We should ask them a question.
All right. Yeah, if they could just see what the humans do on a daily basis. But they react. I mean, if you microwave your water and you give it to a plant, the plant's going to die. The same thing with human beings. Some people warm up their coffee or their hot water in a microwave. What do you think it's going to do to you? Same premise.
And it's become so... When you even talk like that, when you say this sentence, people actually raise defenses at you because the microwave is so convenient. How dare you besmirch that? Okay, so, but
I've had those conflicts.
Yeah, me too. I mean, people looked at me like I was crazy. What? It's only microwave.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, I know that you, in your own lifestyle and what you consume veggies or the powder made from veggies, fruits. You talked about humic acid, fulvic acid, many other things like this. But I also know you consume elements that come from the sea.
Yeah.
Can you talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, the seaweeds, the dull seaweed, the kombu, all those, they have a lot of naturally occurring minerals, great fiber, great chlorophyll, sea plankton, all those types of vegetables. There's a product that I've been using for years that gives you the best of land and the sea. And your blood profiles are really important. Believe it or not, the ocean and your blood profile in terms of mineralization are almost identical. Okay, so eating things from the ocean, from the proper source, organic and free of chemicals, because as you know, listen, Fukushima happened in 2011, okay? It's still leaking into the ocean. So you have to be really conscious to buy from the right sources because those currents go everywhere. So if you're going to use dulse and you're going to use like hijiki seaweed and all those things, make sure it's coming from a clean source.
So that's become a big challenge. Seaweed, sea plants, fish, shellfish. How can we make sure they're free from... Everybody knows about mercury, but there's so many other things.
Oh, don't get me started. I mean, Americans are eating on average 1 credit card a year just by eating at your sushi restaurant or your fish. I don't eat fish.
One credit card a year in terms of what?
1 credit card a year in terms of plastic.
1 credit card sized plastic.
Yeah, right. So you have microplastics in your body because you're eating fish. I don't care if you're going to Nobu or the finest of the finest with the nicest tuna. More often than not, the mercury levels are crazy high, PCBs, plastic, and you're paying for pain. Really important that you listen to this information because those restaurants don't care because it's their lifeline, it's their business. And there should be a warning. I mean, in California, you know that when anything coming out of the ground, you get a Prop 65 warning. Okay? There should be a Prop 65 warning with anything coming out of the ocean.
Prop 66, they're going to call
Right.
it. Yeah.
So that exists.
So when you use the seaweeds, you talked about spirulina, chlorella, now you talked about all the other ones. Of course, that's of paramount importance that it is sourced from a place that, assuming there are even places like this in the world anymore, is clean.
Exactly. I mean, if you're eating farm-raised fish, that's even worse. Okay? If you're eating something that's out in the wild, it doesn't make it better than any other. I mean, I had a guy back in the 90s when the environment was hopefully cleaner. He used to have his salmon caught in Alaska and then sent overnight to New York City. Back then, that was awesome. But now, I don't care where your salmon is coming from. I mean, if it's from a stream or a lake or they're making their way up and you get it right when it dies, hopefully it's not full of chemicals, but it's in the ocean first and then it goes up the stream to spawn where it was born. So there's environmental exposure everywhere. Acid rain, chemicals in the rain. Yeah.
You yourself, if I'm not mistaken, are vegetarian, aren't you, or vegan?
I'm actually plant-based. I do have some ghee, which is like clarified butter. It's used in Ayurveda. I do eat some ghee, but I don't eat any animal products like eggs outright. You know, chicken, turkey, lamb, beef. I don't like have any of that on my plate. No. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
plant-based.
many people do, but when they do, again, grass-fed is not enough
No.
because the government lets you label it grass-fed if it ate grass most of its life until the last 3 or maybe 2 months, where
Yeah.
you absolutely fatten it with the most horrifying grains to fatten and get more weight. So it's got to be grass-fed, grass-finished. A lot of people need to keep
Interesting.
that in mind. Chicken, free range. So now people trick the system. If they let the chicken have a 3 square feet of space, now it's free range. No, it's chicken roaming in the yard and eating
Yeah.
little. Okay. And with the fish we already talked about. So all of those things for the people who do eat protein from those sources. So I assume you don't lack for protein. Obviously, you are a high level a sports person.
Yes.
So you have your own sources of protein besides the one we know about from what people do when they're vegetarians or vegan.
Right. And, you know, let me speak about the protein. I mean, if people decide to eat animal protein, you know, God bless you, that's okay. But you're eating recycled protein. Look where the goats got the protein from. They got the protein from the grass. Okay, they got the protein from, and these are large animals. So they got the protein from the grass. So that means you're eating recycled protein. But yeah, I've kind of pinned down my protein sources. I mean, the strongest animal in the jungle, if you look at a grayback gorilla, just eats bananas and fruits and vegetables all day. No lack of muscle. You know, so it works.
You know, I get to thinking, you know, when you and I met, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, we went to a lovely, lovely restaurant. It was a vegan restaurant in San Francisco with views of the water, very nice. But it occurs to me, you meet friends and typically you go have lunch together, dinner. When you go out to a restaurant, you have no idea whether you used healthy fats even in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it could even be a noble. You don't have any guarantee.
Right.
If they are not using fats that are vegetable oils that you shouldn't be, you know, that you shouldn't have in your body. So it's a dilemma. I know you travel quite a bit. What do you do about that?
I do the best I can. I mean, whenever we travel, we look for the best, you know, highest quality restaurants. But, you know, even I'm going to get hit. But I'm always taking my preparations in the morning and the evening. So if I've been exposed, I'm always helping my body detoxify itself. So you have to have these extracurricular activities around your organ systems and your daily interaction. Because, listen, I was like, everything needs to be organic. I can't go here, I can't go there. And, you know, in business and in life, that could be really difficult. So I've kind of really learned to just kind of go with the flow. You know, when we had dinner, that place was health conscious. You know, we went to this great place at Restoration Hardware that they had really great options for me. Do I know that the oil was not coconut oil and canola oil? No, I don't know. So I just have to like find a place for that, and I do, and then just take care of myself before I go to bed.
Yeah. We gotta live in the world. All my ways of eating and doing things are not 100%. They're 90%.
Right.
So if I go to my daughter's birthday party and there's a cake, I will eat a piece of cake because it's my daughter's birthday party.
Sure.
And I won't, you know, we have all had a meal with that person who tortures everyone for 15 minutes. Does this have this? Does this have this? Does it? And finally, you don't even want to eat anymore, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I've been that person, you know, and I'm not proud of that, you know, because, you know, people are just not where you're at. I happen to be so aware of what's happening with humanity and our food supply that like I see everything. It's like when I first met my wife, I saw frosted flakes on the top of the refrigerator, and I saw this, and I said, "Oh, this is calamity."
She has a kid, in her defense, I'll say that she has a kid.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be 15 now, but his health and his diet is so much better since we've been together, and it's a blessing because he's going to benefit, and that's the goal.
Actually, now that you talk about your wife's kid, this is interesting. I have a teenager at home who's 18. And like many teenage boys, he got into lifting weights and pseudo bodybuilding. And of course, at that age, they are exploding with testosterone and growth hormones, so they get results. So my son is very muscular, he goes to the gym, but by virtue of being an 18-year-old, he can't be big because the genetics in my family are pretty slim. So he's a boy. When I was a boy, I was thin, tall and thin. However, when I saw a picture of your wife's kid at 14, 15, he was muscular like a 27-year-old.
I doctored him. I doctored him. I was like, "Give me that arm. We're gonna give you the injection." No, there's a specific product that's this incredible delivery of protein. It's 99% of the protein to the working muscle in 23 minutes. He uses it religiously. I've been using it, in all my championships, my gold medal, my 2 silver medals, representing the United States when I raced over in Belgium. I've used it, and I still use it today. I take, 10 to 15 a day. And very important that you get the right quality sports supplements, especially for young people.
So that's what helped your stepson develop such muscles and such mass and muscularity even as a boy, because boys, again,
he's 14, he'll be 15.
Yeah, usually you're looking at I mean, some people have different genetics, obviously, but normally it's like, okay, so that's good to know. Ian, you seem to have a lot of bags of tricks, and they were proven in the field by you and everybody around you, and you've made a difference in the health of a lot of people, and that's what your life is dedicated to, which I appreciate. And that's why we are here on this podcast. Now, if somebody wants to be in touch with you and learn more, should they just get in touch with us, with me, or how do they get in touch with you?
that would be great. If someone's interested in learning more of optimizing your health and just taking steps so you could have a better quality of life, definitely get back in touch with Adi. And I'd be more than happy to correspond with you via email and then set up a call. I don't charge for my time. I'm at this point in my life, I'm semi-retired, and I'm really enjoying just helping other people. That's my passion.
So I will give you guys and girls my personal email, which is also my business email. It's my last name, Gorel, Gorel, at icgre.com. Gorel at icgre.com. Send me an email if you want to be in touch with Ian. I'll be happy to put you in touch with him. Ian, I certainly will lean on you for some little tips and tidbits like I have been doing. You've been a wonderful source. I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're busy. You say you're semi-retired, but I know you do a lot of things. So thank you for taking the time to be on our show, and I hope to see you very soon.
Thank you very much. It was really great to be here with you.
Thank you for joining me today for the second part of our amazing interview. If you didn't catch part 1, don't miss out. The link is in the description below for you. And be sure to click the subscribe button for more videos.